turn.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Not even a little bit.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
You didn't need to do that.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
I don't know. Is this thing even on? Oh well. Oh, good morning, you sick, demented people. Why are you even up and why are you watching this or listening to this? Why? It is Thursday, March 14th, 2024. Hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are. It's a beautiful day here. It's going to be almost 60, like 59 degrees. We can't just get that one more just so I can feel like it's spring. But the sun is shining. I'm in a pretty good mood. Willie is in town, but probably lost somewhere trying to find a screen somewhere in Times Square that has his picture on it, which is just out of his mind crazy. Look at me. I paid to see me. It's very weird. I don't get the whole thing. Listen, if somebody else was if there was some merit behind it, but you know, going out of your way to see your own commercial for yourself is pretty weird. It's almost like paying for to hear yourself on the radio. Paying to play your song on the radio so you can say, "Listen, I heard my song on the radio." Yeah, anybody could do that if they pay. It's only significant if somebody else is kind of doing it because they like the stuff, not necessarily because you pay for it. Listen, you get people to do anything for money, anything really. I'm sorry, but here's the thing. I like saying "here's the thing," but here's the thing. It's my favorite phrase. But here's the thing. I don't know where it's playing. The company that we're working with has probably 120 screens, and you rent them by the hour, and you pick hours, and they change during the day. So it could be 11 Times Square for 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, and then not run again till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, all the way down the block somewhere. And I don't have the schedule, and it changes daily. So he's going to be walking around Times Square like Ratso Rizzo, and end up giving blowjobs to strangers on the bus. That's what. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, Willie's in town, and he's getting a first taste of New York. Probably going to be a little bit of a weird one. Happy birthday to Jess Paul. Jess Paul turns 21 today. Friend Jess is probably not awake yet on the West Coast. We do have a kind of unusual show today. 2 comedians. Aaron Bullitt will be here in the second hour, and Erin McHale Staples will be with us in the first hour. And then right around the end of the second hour, Andre Rosen, who was not here yesterday, was scheduled for yesterday, but I screwed up because kept giving me, a runaround with booking 10 minutes of time to plug the Hamptons Comedy Film Festival. And then I was so confused that I told him noon his time, which would have been 9 o'clock, like right at the start of the show tomorrow. But noon his time is actually 3 o'clock here. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We are way off the air, but so that was my screw up. But I'm blaming it on him confusing me. Right? You don't play with an old man and I can't find out where the earthquake was, or if there really was an earthquake. I don't know how these things end up trending, but if there was an earthquake somewhere in the world, and generally there almost always is, um, somewhere, right? There's an earthquake somewhere on this big old rock, but I don't know where it was, and they're not mentioning it, and there's no reason for why it's trending. There's a picture of or a little video of some girl putting up on her makeup on. That's probably from an old earthquake. I saw this the last time there was one in L.A., but there's no indication. So if anybody knows where the earthquake might have been, if there was an earthquake that we should know about, let me know because I can't figure out why it's trending. Um, Lastly, before I get to the gentleman, oh, by the way, David Tell will be sitting in for Willie today in the panel, so that's a good trade up, right? We got David Tell for Willie, not bad. Um, the future vice president of the United States of America, has torn his Achilles and will be out for the season. I want to say that on my top list of vice presidential candidates for RFQ, Aaron Rodgers, the crazy conspiracy theorist uh, with the weak Achilles, is going to be on the ticket. I don't know if he still plans on playing football for the New York Jets while he's uh, vice president. Well, as much as he did last year in his first year with the Jets, probably. It's just a very weird thing. Listen, uh, if RFQ wanted to end his campaign um, soon, he did the right thing in picking or going to pick. He's going to be picking him probably today or tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers, I shit you not. Aaron Rodgers. Listen, if you're going to go for a quarterback, go for Tom Brady. Go for Pat Mahomes. Go for somebody who's a winner. I know Rodgers won a couple of times or whatever, back in a century ago or whatever. But it's time to say good morning to boys in the dog pound. Good morning, fellas.
Morning.
Yeah, that's right.
Good morning, minddogtv.com. If you're in New York and you see Willie and you're a crack whore, I'll give you $40 to minddogtv.com.
Yeah, Willie's in the chat room. He says, "I will say it's intimidating looking at all these different billboards." Yeah, Times Square is not a small place, and there are probably a billion billboards, and there are hours and hours where it's not going to be on. So if you're there now, it's just I don't know. I don't even think it's playing during these hours. I think I got a 7 o'clock thing and a 1 o'clock, and it changes day to day. But I think today it's 7 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and like 7 p.m. or something again, or something like that. Anyway, good morning, guys. You guys got any thoughts on Aaron Rodgers being our next vice president?
Only the fact that means that RFK would have won and fucking the country would deserve to be boiled alive if that were the case.
I don't know. We could do worse than RFK.
Not much worse, though.
Oh, yes, much worse.
Yeah, he wants to bring the measles back in a hard way,
And
Right.
polio.
Yeah. The guy with the iron lung from polio just died. By the way, did you see that? The guy was in an iron lung his whole life.
Yeah, like 70 years, right?
Right. It's such a weird thing because, like, didn't technology progress to the point where they had a better solution for him sometime in those 70
Yeah, he could
years?
have had a plastic lung.
What now? Do you know how iron lung actually work? Because I don't. I mean, I've never. I
I
mean,
think
the guy, his head was sticking out of the. But
I
I
did
thought it
the
was like a pressurization thing that would make it easier for him to breathe. So like if instead of his chest feeling like it's at zero gravity, it would feel like it's at so many pounds per square inch or something. It would feel at a different pressure. That was my understanding. But then again, I haven't given a shit about an iron lung since elementary school.
right. But how do you feel? How do you take a shit? Like, because if that he has to be in that lung the whole time. I mean, is anybody changing his diaper? Well, nobody's changing his diaper
There's a
anymore. But
it has a
that,
poop chute.
a poop shoot.
Yeah, poop chute.
But no wiping. I guess they probably hooked him up to like a colostomy type of situation, right? Wait.
Vacuum.
Oof.
Shitting
I
sucked.
automatically thought about Weird Al when I read that story because Weird Al has a song on his first album called "Mr. Frump and the Iron Lung."
I now that opens up a whole bunch of questions. Like, did you actually buy a Weird Al album?
Oh yeah, I was a big Weird Al fan.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, what's up? Jordan Peterson's here. Um, I can't imagine that. Like a whole lot. I could, probably listen to him for half a song and think that's funny, but like even a whole song, I would have trouble with. Never mind a whole album of Weird Al.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. A few years ago, I seen him when he was touring, and he was doing like the deep cuts off of his albums. Yeah, yeah, because he does those things called style parodies, and they're
Right.
really they're really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, people see him top level as just this guy that does song parodies, but yeah, when you get into his style stuff, it's very good. The songs are funny.
yeah. Anytime I see now, was it all with an accordion or did he play and a different instrument?
No, the accordion only comes out every now and then.
Oh, because I don't know accordion. I can't take an accordion seriously. Even I've seen some really good players, but
Yeah,
I always feel like I'm looking at a organ grinder. Where's your monkey type of thing, and then they get pissed when you say that.
yeah.
They want you to take it as like a serious instrument. Um, did you guys feel the earthquake?
No, now I just want to say one thing real quick.
You didn't say yeah, real quick. It's not real quick. Every time you say real quick, you make it slow.
No, I said one thing real quick.
Oh, one thing real quick. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for that. It's time to go.
Now, Ron has some of the most eclectic taste I have ever known, and I thought, I mean, really, I have eclectic taste, but Ron has like not just eclectic taste, but eclectic knowledge of his taste. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can ask me about the Clash, and I'll say, yeah, I don't even know how many members are in the Clash. But if Ron listens to a group, he can tell you who's in the group, and why he likes the group. He's
All right.
got
We
he's
want
smarter
to.
than what I'm saying is he's smarter than he looks.
I understand that. Now
Thank
we need an example of this eclectic taste. Give me besides Weird Al. Give me something you would consider that Ron is into, that you would find eclectic.
Okay.
Crack the Sky.
Saint Plan pour moi.
Never heard of it.
Nope.
That's the French version of Jet Boy Jet Girl.
Sweet Poontang.
I know that song. Yep.
Yeah.
I like the Dams version.
Right.
Of,
The Damned. That's the Damned is Jet Boy Jet Girl.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I like that version of the song, especially when when it shows up on their live albums.
Does
And,
Crack the Sky have a version of that?
No, Crack the Sky does not. Crack the Sky does not have a version of Jet Boy Jet Girl. They're the closest they probably have would be She's a Dancer.
Ron, do you play an instrument?
I can play the guitar.
All right. Now, do you have a genre that you prefer? Like, are you I don't know, 90s or grunge rock, or a what would be your preferred genre?
I I don't know if I have preferred, but like I like punk and I like hip hop and I like just about anything across the
Punk hop.
board except for country music. I can't stand country music.
Now, when you say country music, do you mean modern or across the board, like from
I mean,
old country?
yeah, I mean, there's some stuff here and there that you know that like I like some older stuff, maybe like a song or two here or there, but
Johnny Cash?
yeah, like here and there and stuff like that. So most of the modern country is just like adult contemporary stuff to me when I hear it. And
Yeah,
I don't, my biggest gripe with country and the same too with hip hop, especially now, there's so much of it that's just so much the same and homogenized and especially country music because it's like let's have this guy sound like the last guy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And are you
no,
familiar? Are you familiar with KLF Stand by the Jams with Tammy Wynette and her
Yeah.
vocalization on there?
I think that was Crack the Sky that did
No,
that.
Crack the Sky did the remix.
Oh.
Yeah.
Guess what? First guest is already no show or a delayed show or a late show. It's a
Oh,
late show.
since we're talking about music, on Monday night, I had my mic in Harrisburg, and the band that was playing upstairs in the Capitol room was KMFDM.
I don't know.
You know, yeah, they're like they came out of the '90s, like early '90s industrial.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're still together.
And they wow, and they were at the club that you do your mic at? Your Monday. Wow, that's I you know, sometimes you get to the height of the mountain and then you come back down and you're at the foot of the mountain.
Yeah,
There there was a time when I was doing a hair and beauty show. On the way home, we decided to stop at this club, and it turned out Molly Hatchet was playing there, but they were on a break, and the place was empty. And one of the guys from Molly Hatchet came over to bum a cigarette from the guy I was with. I was like, man, hard times. One day you're on the radio and you're selling 1 million records and you're driving a limo. Next day you can't afford your own fucking cigarettes.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the music business for you.
Comedy is the same way. I worked with a guy in Florida. This was in Winter Haven. We did this show, and one of the guys I worked with just performed with Chris Stefano at Madison Square Garden back in September because
Right.
apparently he knows Chris from the open mic days when they were coming up, and Chris he's like one of Chris's friends, and he put him on that show, so
Yeah.
he got to perform for like 5,000 people, and
Yeah.
he said it was the best and worst gig of his life because he he got asked like a month and a half before the show, and he told me that month and a half was brutal because he was just so focused. It's like, I want to have my time down. I want to have all my material. So he's he just he was zoned in, like just get it right, get it right. And his set went well for him, but he said he was so glad when it was over, just
Yeah.
because all the pressure was off at that point.
Yeah. You know what? I think pressure is an internal thing. You put it on yourself. You got
Unless
to
you're in
treat.
an iron lung. Unless you're in an iron lung, then it's different.
I
Yeah,
don't think it's reverse pressure then, right?
but
But it's still
but
pressure.
but it is so funny that like in September you're performing for 5,000 people, and now he's at this little bar in Winter Haven, Florida, and there's
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
30 people there.
That's showbiz, folks. You know what? A gig is a gig, but I get it. There's this illusion of because I know plenty of people who have done late night television, and maybe back in the day when Johnny Carson was the only game in town, if you did late night television, that meant you were on your way. You could write your own ticket. But there are plenty of people who do that now, and I see them, and they're playing locally, and they have 10 people in the audience, and so it's not a career maker anymore like it used to be.
No,
Yeah. But you know what? I don't know how they pick those people. There are obviously scouts going around the comedy clubs and seeing people and thinking who would be a good fit for that. But yeah, I saw Ariel Elias was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Now, only 4 months ago, 5 months ago, she was at Uncle Vinny's and on an off night getting a beer thrown at her, and I think that's what got her all the attention to get her
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what she said it was.
Yeah. Oh, what you've heard a comment on how she got the Colbert gig?
That's what, yeah, apparently, yeah. She said that that's what drove her numbers up, and she says it wasn't the. Well, I'm trying to think here. The the woman yelled at her. The woman, his wife, started the fight, and then she goes, "The man finished the fight by throwing a beer."
Right. Yeah. Well, I was one of the first people to ask her to be on the show after that, because you know what, I'm a predator in that way. Oh, somebody's got some drama going on. Let's get him on the show. And she did say yes, but then she never followed up on it. And now I'm probably gonna think, well, I'm too big for that dopey show. I'll go
now
back.
you
Yeah,
just now you just deeply hold it against her for the rest of your life, right? Is
Right?
that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a funny thing. I don't think I'd wanna. I'd say that now because it's not happening to me. But I don't think I'd want fame for based on having a beer bottle thrown at me, like, and get all these opportunities because of that. Because people aren't coming to see you for, maybe I'm
it's
just,
whiskey or nothing.
huh?
Whiskey or nothing. Beer is
Oh yeah,
cheap. They have like 50 cent a night beer, but whiskey, even bottom shelf whiskey, is like $7.
right. Uh, you can almost hear laughter somewhere on the planet.
Right here, I feel it here.
Ron, I heard a
That's all
little
that
giggle,
matters.
a slight giggle.
Hey, but I do agree with what you're saying, Matt. That do you really want to be picked up for something like that? But then at the same time, if that's your way in, if that's your doorway into getting into,
If you
mo-
can make it something bigger than that, but if 20 years from now people are still talking about, "Aren't you the girl with the beard?"
yeah, yeah.
It's a kiss of death in a lot of ways. So,
Yeah,
uh,
my wife and I watched her performance on Colbert, and when it was done, we both thought the same thing. This is what she did with her 15 minutes of fame. You know, she
you,
could. We thought the material could have been a lot better,
right? You're
but
you're
I
up
think
late at
she may
night.
have felt compelled to talk about the beer thing. You know,
Of
because
course, of course. At this point, but if she's still talking about it 2 years from now, or even a year from now, I think she's gonna want to kill herself. I would. That's just a joke, YouTube. Or it's not really a joke. It's just me being stupid. That's what it was. Don't cancel us over that. But you're up late at night. Do you watch it live or you DVR it?
didn't
What do you?
know. I've only watched it live once, and that's when my wife and I were there. Every other time they've recorded it and shown it on television.
Ron, have you ever seen him with his wife in a real life situation, or is he just making this up to hide the fact that he's truly gay?
Occasionally, there's a woman that will show up with him, but
Tim Scott has that too, though.
yeah,
You can hire a woman to come with you, or she could just be friends. A lot of gay guys have friends,
I think they're
women
called
friends.
beards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is this person you're calling your wife
yeah. Well,
actually a
I'll give it
beard?
to GD. He's definitely cultivated this lie pretty good because he's kept her around for a bit.
I know. Well, so
20, about 20 years. I've kept it
Yeah.
around for like 20 years.
you know what? I have not followed up on if Tim Scott is all of a sudden single again. Now that nobody, like, he was
Well, he's not. No, he's not single. As a matter of fact, he's engaged. He's engaged to Trump's ass.
right. That's a good point. Um, yeah. So I mean, it is whatever. Um, next week, I'm thinking about doing stand up. I've been asked to do a stand up gig. I'm not saying where yet because I have not
Cool.
said yes to it.
Oh,
Uh, somebody needs me to do uh, 12 to 15 minutes. I was like, I don't know, man. It's been 30 years since I did 5 minutes. You're asking a lot from me.
well, take your guitar with you. Don't let people see it. And if you start to bum, bail yourself out with a song.
I could do lots. I could be funny guitar boy. I could do a
Yeah.
funny guitar boy act.
You just have to entertain the audience and make them laugh, you know. And if you do it with your guitar in front of you, play a couple of chords like you're going to do a song, and then tell one of your really bad jokes that you tell all the time.
Right.
Then play another half a song, and you can do it. You can stretch it out.
I don't know if I want to be funny guitar boy because I don't. There's only a few of those people, funny guitar boys. That Henry Phillips I really enjoy, but other than that, I can't think of one. I don't want to be Gary Mule Deer. Do you guys even know who Gary Mule
He's
Deer
some
is?
guy who's funny with the guitar, right?
He's a funny guitar boy.
And actually, I don't know who he is, but if you just mentioned him, so I was trying to be polite.
That's nice.
I was
You
trying
could
to.
you could always resurrect Gallagher's act. There's no Sledge-O-Matic currently.
Well, that's funny Chainsaw Boy, right? Or Gallagher's brother is already doing Gallagher's act, so I can't really.
I don't think he's doing it anymore though. Ever since he died.
Yeah.
That's probably because Gallagher bought it back from him, and then I don't think that once he died, I don't think that the brother could buy it back. I think it went to the estate. I'm not sure how it legally went.
Are you guys? Do you even know about this whole British thing? I mean, the Kate Middleton. Do you know what the conspiracy shit is all about?
Apparently, Prince Charles has been having an affair for about. No, is that her husband?
Prince Charles?
Is that her husband, Prince Charles?
No, that's King Charles, but
Who's
he's
her husband?
I don't know.
William?
This
Is that
is my
William?
problem. I don't know anything about these people.
Okay, whoever her husband is, I think it may be William because Harry's the one that's in the States.
Yeah,
now.
it's Prince William.
Okay,
Yeah,
Prince William in a can.
So apparently, Prince William's been having an affair with some woman, like last name is Chumley, for about 3 years. Some lady, and the wife, what's her name again? The woman you just mentioned,
Middleton, Kate Middleton.
Kate Middleton actually knew about it. Anyway, the theory is that he got caught cheating with her again, and they're separated, and that's why you haven't seen her. But I don't know anything else about the.
Is it against the law or is it like because there have been divorces? I mean, Fergie got a divorce and Diana got a divorce. It's not like forbidden, right? Why would they need to hide a separation?
I'm correct.
I was just gonna say, like I think the conspiracies are all evolving around because, like they have there's a whole agency that's dedicated to like doing all their press, and they control everything down to the minute detail. And then, she had a surgery like a month or so ago. That's what they were saying, that she had an abdominal surgery. If that's her thing, I mean, she's got to get it fixed.
Yeah.
But then, it delves into further. It's like he only showed up to the hospital once. Their kids never showed up to the hospital. And so there's so much mystery around it. Then that picture comes out, which was
fake picture,
yeah, which was photoshopped. So now there's, is it cheating? Has something horrible happened to her, and they're keeping it wrapped up? I don't think anyone really knows it, and it's probably something simple like that. Like he was probably banging somebody, and she called him, and it's like
a lot of that going on. Listen, they're not alone in that. But you know what? Because it's every day. And you guys, I know you guys don't live on Twitter like I do, but it's like people are talking about like why are we so fascinated with these people? They're probably about 500 billion people having marital problems and stuff, and lots of gone girls and lots of gone guys and all that stuff. Why are we so fixated on these fucking outdated crown wearers? I don't get it.
I'm not fixated on them. I only mentioned it because you mentioned it. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wasn't going to mention it.
I didn't mean we in this room. I meant we as a society. I'm not. I don't even know who's who. I thought Kate Middleton was the American actress who was like half black or something and married one of them, but apparently, no, she's
I think you're thinking of Whoopi Goldberg.
No, there was one, wasn't there? One that was I don't know, like on a reality show or something like
Megan something, right?
The
Megan.
Bachelorette or something.
I think it was Megan something from Suits. Is half black.
That could be.
I
Um,
I think maybe he was cheating, and maybe something more happened, because I don't think a lot of people can wrap their heads around that when people are in those positions like that, it's cheating is so easy. They have so many options. And I think when they when those people get married, I would think too, like, you kind of know that it's part of the deal, that there might
yeah,
be a woman here or a woman there, and she may have a man here and a man there. Who knows?
yeah, yeah.
Here, there, man, everywhere, man,
Yeah.
man. Call man. She
We
could have a
have
call man.
a message from Erin McHale Staples. Sincere apologies. I have a family emergency. I'm currently navigating and will be unavailable. Nice to know. I feel, I hope everything works out all right, but it's kind of weird to get that after the show has started. Um, but so another no show. Go figure. We are the no show in the morning. Got to put
Well,
it.
if we go by that, then you can just say any name you want as going to be a guest on the show, and just say they didn't show up.
That's true.
You say Tom
Tomorrow,
Brady. Tomorrow,
yeah.
Tom Brady.
No, tomorrow we will have Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump together on the show.
For the
Uh,
first
Yeah.
time anywhere. For the first
Yeah,
time
and
anywhere.
each doing impersonations of each other.
right. That'll be great. Can't wait for that one. 13 years ago today, Charlie Sheen got fired from it's time flies, right? Remember when all that Charlie Sheen was going around the Tiger Blood and he was like doing interviews and like going psychotic? He was the highest paid entertainer in America at the time. And boy, we haven't heard from him since as far as doing anything, right? But he's still alive. I wonder if he's just like spending his money or counting his money or
He showed
maybe went through all his money on coke.
he showed up on there's a show, I think it's called The Bookie, that's on Max, and he showed up on that show. He had a small role.
Like a cameo, a walk on, like type of
No, it's just a small role over like an episode or two.
right. Well, good for him. At least he's got something. But it's like we were talking before about rock stars and comedians who like fall off the mountain. He was on the top of the mountain and then just disappeared. Like,
And
and
a fun fact about that show that he was on, it's created and ran by Chuck Lorre,
Chuck Lorre, right? Yeah,
who and he fired him a few years ago, but they're still together. So
they
I guess
are.
yeah. I mean, he hired them for that show, so it can't be really that bad of blood, can it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe he fired him as like, this is for your own good, Charlie. You're not going to straighten up until something happens like this. And Charlie goes, "Oh, please fix my life and fire me." And so that's what they did. And now he's looked at his life and goes, "Charlie, I have re-examined your life, and I think you're worth a risk again. Gee, you have rehabilitated yourself. Please be on my show."
What about his brother Emilio Estevez, whatever
Chuck
his name is.
Lorre's brother is Emilio
No,
Estevez.
Charlie Sheen brother. But what has he? Is he was another guy who was
Hola.
like, yeah, like he does nothing now. I guess you just get bored. I don't know. I would
Yeah,
like to
I
keep
think
me.
I think he's making movies still.
Is
I
it?
think
But
I
like
read
what?
like
Anybody know him?
I think like a year ago or something he put out some movie. I don't know if it was a documentary or something, but I think
Hmm,
Emilio is still doing things.
pretty weird.
At some point in your life, if you get rich enough, you can just do what your passion is and not what drives the paycheck.
No,
You're
I
not
get it,
going,
but
and his passion is probably, OnlyFan. He's directing OnlyFan, movies.
he was kind of a Billy the Kid type enthusiast, but he was a filmmaker. That was his passion. I mean, it can change. I'll grant you that. Like you can just say, I'm just tired of making movies. But if I were at the top of my game and then doing what I love, I would just do what. If you got enough money, you can just say, "Fuck it, I'm not playing by the rules of the studio anymore." But I'm going to still make movies. I'll just make the kind of movies I want to make, and don't care if they're great, or if they do great or not. But
It's
Well,
possible he had a list though. It's like he could have said, "I want to make
bucket list.
these 3 movies," and then once he's made, these 3 movies, it's like, okay, I'm ready to move on to being on Broadway or something, or writing an off-Broadway play. You get that kind of. I'm just saying it's possible.
I
Yeah,
like I like to think of him as like what you're saying, like a Billy Kid the Enthusiast. Like he's always dressing in Western clothes and he's trying to start gunfights, and they had to ask him to leave the studio. Like, you gotta stop, you're taking it too far.
taking it way too far. Uh,
He's at reenactments around the country.
Yeah.
but that's what, because Kevin Costner is another guy like that. In the 80s, he was like getting Oscar nominations every film he did until he did the Waterworld thing, and then kind of
Right.
fell off the cliff.
No, in the 80s, Kevin Costner just smelled like pussy. There was nothing going on there.
Right, yeah. But now he's got a Western that he's just produced. It's coming out in two segments. It's a 2-part thing, like Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. But he plans on releasing one in June and the other in August, I think. But they look like open range. They look like whatever else he was in. Field of Dreams. It's kind of got the Indian thing. Not Field of Dreams. Dances with Wolves. It's got a lot of that. All the movies that he's made, the West, so a little bit of Silverado. All his westerns
Dances with
combined into
baseball. Yeah.
no baseball in it.
No dancing with baseball.
Well, no, he's playing baseball with Indians and wolves.
Dancing with baseball.
Yeah, but it looks like vintage Kevin Costner, and he doesn't look to get any older. I think he's definitely coloring his mustache, no doubt about it. I can spot it. We know you can spot one. You are one. You can spot one.
Die recognizes die.
Yeah,
die job recognizes die job.
Yeah, we call it Die Hard too. Yeah. So but he was another guy who was like he couldn't miss, and then all of a sudden one miss, and then he was kind of obscure for a while, but he just stopped really being on the top of it. Did that Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. That was a weird fucking role for him.
And I think he may have had a few divorces in there too that kind of set him back a little.
What else?
Matt, you could do your Hokey Pokey song when you're doing your comedy set.
No. Nobody can do it. It's copyrighted, and I have very strict
But
protection rights.
Wouldn't you be the one to have that your copyright? You could play your copyrighted song, right? Your version.
Can't. No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna go here. This politics stuff.
You mean like the banning of the bill for the TikTok?
The TikTok ban. Now, I'm okay with it. There are people are like their hair are on fire, like, this is the first step to censorship and all this stuff. And the funny thing about this is RFQ put out a thing about how he was against this ban on TikTok, and then all the comments in his thread were, "Fucking Biden, man! Biden is trying to control everything and censor everybody and steal the election." It's like, it's a Republican bill. I said that to like 10 of them. It's a Republican bill. Biden didn't initiate it. Actually, Trump initiated it, and then he was against it, and then he was for it again, and then he's against it, and now he says it's a tough decision. But it was a Republican thing right from the start. And they can't hear that. They can't hear that. They're like, "Oh, you're lying. You're lying." Show them 15 articles of saying how it was. Now, it was voted on fairly bipartisan, and it passed the House. I don't know if it's going to pass the Senate, though. But I'm okay with it. What are your thoughts on?
Ron, because you're actually you're better at the social media than I am.
No, not the social media stuff. Like censorship stuff. Do you feel like the attempt to ban TikTok is for censorship reasons, or is it truly a threat in some way to American society?
I definitely agree. It's definitely for censorship. Sure, those things could be happening, but too, when you go out there and like, "Oh, they're going to take your data." It's like every social media company in America has everyone's data. That's happened. It's been going on for years now.
All right, let me stop you right there. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Like TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, they have your data, but they are not foreign enemy governments. China, they're saying the difference here is it's the Chinese government. It's
Well,
not
that,
just Chinese citizens that run
well,
it.
no, because that data is just sold on black markets to any country.
Right.
Every country out there that hates us has data on us, and uh, uh, to especially when you look at the bill, because the way that it's worded, it leaves it kind of open ended. So to me, it is like the first step. If you say, "Oh, we're going to ban TikTok," and just say that moron Trump wins again. Uh, what's from stopping in like a year from now, because he hates Facebook. He's like, oh yeah, now Facebook is the enemy of the people. What's from stopping the Republicans and from going, oh, they're like some kind of foreign entity, or they're not, they're against America and policing policies. Then going back, not even maybe a year now, Republicans tried to, they introduced a bill to nationalize the internet.
Right. Yeah.
Or make Elon Musk, whatever he's calling his social media platform at the time, making that the official national platform for
Yeah,
social media. You know.
Well,
yeah,
here's my position on it, and it's all about me. It's not about the bigger picture. It's not about society. It's about me. I'm on YouTube. YouTube is my main thing, and killing TikTok would be good for YouTube, and it would be good for my shorts. I don't do any fucking business on TikTok at all. I can't make a penny on TikTok, so I'm okay if TikTok gets banned and goes away completely. It will mean more dollars in my pot, more pennies.
yeah. And I
Coming
don't
down
think
the
it
nickel.
will, because of the people in this country and up in government have interest in TikTok, stock interest, and that's the only reason why Trump came out,
Yes. Yes.
and changed his position, because a friend of his has a pretty big stake in TikTok. So
Right.
And
it's just a waste of time. And it's like there are more pressing issues and shit like that than if you're worried about the Chinese are going to send you, you know, more girls' titties bouncing at you or some shit like that.
and literally hours before Trump made his announcement that he was for the TikTok, TikTok announced that they were throwing him like a fundraiser, a $10,000 a plate fundraiser. So that day, just later in the day, that evening is when, TikTok says we're going to throw a $10,000 a plate fundraiser for Trump. Later that day, Trump says TikTok is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's very transactional on everything in his whole life. We know
Yeah.
that about him.
So he doesn't have an agenda. He has a wallet.
Right.
Well, his
But
agenda
do
is
you
his
think it
wallet.
will pass the Senate? It's passed the House. It has to pass the Senate, and then Biden has to sign it. I think Biden
Well,
would
I think
would
it'll
sign it.
pass the Senate, but I think it has to go through committee. I don't think it's going to pass the Senate the way it is right now because of
Yeah.
how open it is.
Yeah.
It'll pass the
Word on
Senate,
this.
then it'll die in committee.
Yeah.
Ron's going to give us word on the street. What from DC? You've been walking the
Yeah.
street to DC, getting the word on the street. Your
Well,
man
yeah.
on the
I mean,
street just called you in.
the
Ron
word
is.
on the street is that Congress isn't, it's pretty much dead when it hits the Senate, because they have no interest in it. I mean, the House has been a joke now for several years. So why would it? I mean, they're worried about TikTok. What about the few million people that are going to lose jobs to automation and AI just in the next couple years? So fuck
Right.
them.
Yeah, right now there's a bunch of 80-year-old men going, "Why you want to ban TikTok? I've been playing that since I was a kid, 3 in a row. It's a great game. I love this. Why?
Yeah,
What's up there? What's up their ass?"
yeah. And why isn't anyone talking about that? Like all these really elderly people have a decision in a social media app. I mean, you seen that dumb clip of Nancy Pelosi where she's like tick tock toe or whatever she's
Yeah.
doing, and you can practically hear the dentures like moving in her mouth. It's like, come on, how can anyone take these people seriously?
I don't
And
know. But
Yeah,
again, if I'm being very selfish here, TikTok is really not. I would like to. I'm on TikTok because I feel like as long as it's there, I have to be. But if it went away, I would be. My bottom line would improve. So I. But I hear what you're saying. It could lead. Now I'm understanding of the way I read the bill. It's the president's decision alone. If the bill passes and gets done, it's the president's decision alone, under his discretion, whether whether it's a danger or a threat to American security. So
yeah,
the president has a final say on this. He doesn't need to get congressional approval to say ban it, just
yeah.
turn it off.
And how long has TikTok now been around?
I
And,
don't know.
And yeah,
and
and it's also not an instant ban. They have like 6 months to sell it to someone that we could approve of.
yeah, it's
Like what would make them change their minds though if the Chinese government sold their interest to private? I mean, what is that in my understanding of it, the concern is that it's the Chinese government. That's what they're saying.
yeah,
So what would make it palatable if the Chinese government, falsely like put it in the hands of private investors, which are the Chinese government people?
yeah,
Or if they knocked off some of the money that we owe them from the treasury bonds. There could be other backdoor deals. It doesn't have to be something blatant. It could be literally something like, oh, you're going to actually cut off the raw materials for fentanyl to coming into the U.S. You're going to literally just dry it up. We're fine with that. There's always some kind of tit for tat. It doesn't have to be what we're seeing up front, because there's always some kind of backdoor deal.
Right. Well, that and there's a difference between what reality is and how politicians will paint it to their
Right.
constituents, like what we got out of it and why we changed our mind on the whole thing.
or
Right.
and if you're so worried about the Chinese, why do the Chinese own so much commercial property in the U.S.?
Exactly.
Uh,
So
And
how,
why they're
how
letting
about something?
Russia do so much election interference.
because
Yeah,
So
money
it's,
talks.
yeah.
Um,
I it's like, it's like, oh,
it's an
yeah,
easy issue. That's all it is. It's
yeah.
it's it's like immigration almost. It's an easy issue just on the fact that it's an easy sell because it's easy to hate. It's hating.
easy to sell.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different than
And that's the
easy
other thing.
issue to
It was
fix.
an easy issue when
Well,
they
that's yeah.
started. It was an easy issue when they started. They didn't realize there was going to be like kickback and repercussions from the public. So much of it, because that's a lot of things that the Republicans do. They try to grab an issue to make it a distraction. They'll take a distraction and try to make it a big thing, and then they see like they're on the wrong side of it almost every single time, and then they have to fix or backpedal or
Yeah.
abortion, embryos, TikTok, you name it.
Yeah, they're just they're recycling bits at this point.
Yeah, and basically,
They're like
eh,
a Vegas comedian.
so how would this actually work? They turn off the internet access to the people who are serving the TikTok uh, app. I mean, because if people have it on their phone already, the app it would
I think
block
they go
that.
house to house. I think they go house to house and check your
Take
phone
it
and
off.
delete
Take it
it.
off your phone.
House to house, delete. They will actually hire. They will actually hire out of work comedians and musicians to go house to house.
There are no
And
out of work musicians. None.
they are. They just. I think they
No.
call them comedians as well.
Oh,
And out of work actors, and they go house to house and they check your phone. And if you got the TikTok, they delete it, and they say to you, "Don't do this anymore."
yeah, it'd probably be like trying to degun America, like knocking on doors and saying, "Let me see your phone." Um, I just don't know how it would work. Uh,
They would just tell Apple like, well, this is illegal now and it has to be removed from your service and the phones.
and Google
But
Play, yeah, but you could still have it self provisioned if people really wanted it that bad. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can. Are you gonna? Is it just the app, or are you gonna be able to access it from the web? Because if you had a VPN, really, you could access TikTok in
Right,
another country.
right now,
and young people would know how to do that. And the old people would have no idea that they've done it.
that's true. But I'm under my understanding is, and I don't know how true this is because I haven't been to China. but they say it's different. It's a different app. They get different content if you're in
Oh
China.
Yeah,
yeah,
that actually that is true
that's
How do you know
government.
that's true?
because I have friends who do business in China and family, friends and family.
And they're TikTok heads, and they went there and they played TikTok.
They're much more social media savvy than I am because they do businesses and they keep track of that kind of
I
shit.
don't. I think
And
you're
they
making
talk
it.
to me about it, my eyes glaze over, and I
I
don't
think
learn
this
no
is
further
like
than
the
that.
wife story. It's just made up. You're just trying to save face here. What happened was bought the
Really,
you bought
Matt?
the you
Do you
bought the
think this
line.
face needs saving? This
Yeah,
face does not need saving.
it
I'm
does.
sorry. This
It
face
needs
speaks for
saving and
itself.
shaving. Um,
Shaving, yes, that it does
I
need.
think you bought the government line about it's different content over there, and you say it's true. Like okay, but you don't really know. You don't really know unless you've been there firsthand and seen it yourself. You don't really know. You bought the line. Admit it. You bought the government
Yeah.
line.
Now,
Yes. Admit it.
this face does
I
not need
say
saving.
admit it.
Your Honor, he's badgering the witness,
He
and
is
I'm
badgering the
sorry,
witness.
he's not. That's not the face of a
All right, we
badger. That's
let's
the face. That's the face of a platypus. He
let
should not be
let's switch
badgering
to
the witness.
something you know, cannibalism.
Uh,
I am getting hungry.
Yeah, Haiti. Have you seen what's going on in Haiti, or do you believe what's going on in Haiti, or do you know what's going on in Haiti? They have no government, right? They have no government right now, and people are burning people on the streets and eating them. As far as videos on social media, paint the picture. Any ideas about the fate of Haiti and what's really happening down there?
I know, gang. The president, he's not coming back. He's officially out.
Right.
Uh, and I think they had someone they wanted to nominate or something, but no party likes that person, so that person's out. And then you sort of have this former cop and gang leader that's been leading all this stuff, and he's still out there, and maybe possibly the president. I don't know.
How does
It's
that
chaos.
end in cannibalism though? That's what's because and who it's probably not like total rampant cannibalism, people eating each other down there, but
yeah.
that's the picture they're painting. But even one guy burning another guy on the street, barbecuing another dude on the street, and sitting there eating him for the cameras.
Now,
That's it.
that could be a voodoo thing.
It could be a what?
Voodoo thing.
A voodoo thing?
Voodoo.
Voodoo?
Yeah, like it's a personal grudge. It's just it's not has nothing to do with politics. It's like you had sex with my wife. I'm going to kill you, cook you, and eat you. Just like in Die Hard when Bruce Willis got the dancer on the stairs. He goes, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna cook you, and I'm gonna eat you." And it's the same thing.
I
I,
don't know. I think I'd starve to death before eating human flesh.
but then again, you never caught anybody sleeping with your wife, I assume.
Oh yes, I have.
Oh, in that
Every
case,
day, every fucking day. Probably something that probably happening right now. I could go over there and just walk, but I'm not going to barbecue the dude.
no,
Uh,
not barbecuing. That's no. That's maniacal. No, you would actually in America you would deep fry them
oh well,
or air fry. Sorry, you would air fry.
in
Forgive
Haiti,
me.
they're just like burning them on the street. It looks like they're throwing just gas
Right.
on
They
them.
don't have
And
air
like,
fryers. It's a poor country. If they had air fryers, it would be a totally different thing, and then nobody would care because then they would be, oh yeah, it's just air frying.
hmm,
It's just because they're a poor country that we're picking on them for cooking people with what they have, regular fire.
got it. Now, I don't know. It's just like it does it does it mean anything to other countries about what could happen when you just when government just falls apart? I mean, this is a good argument because the libertarian movement thinks we don't need government, but I think this is a pretty strong indication of what happens when there is absolutely no government, no government services, none of that kind of
Well,
stuff.
this actually serves the libertarians' agenda. So the
How?
libertarian agenda is that governments that fall apart, if they fall apart in their brown governments, chaos ensues. If they fall apart in their white governments, anarchy
Chaos
ensues.
ensues.
But it's a different kind of chaos. It's their chaos. It's a market-driven chaos.
Huh. So there are no white people in Haiti? They're all black?
There's 7 white people in Haiti.
Hmm.
3 of them have visas. 4 of them are actually right now at the embassy trying to get out, and that's why we sent in that black woman from our U.S. ambassador to the UN to get those 4 white people out.
Yeah. Ian says he DM'd me a tweet from a rock star about TikToking stealing music rights. TikTok stealing music rights. Really, I didn't see that.
I don't know if they can steal music rights. They could like abuse them, right? Abuse them and
Uh,
try to find lawyers to work around it, but steal
is
them.
this guy a real rock star? David C. Lowry. Who is it? Founded Camper von Beethoven and Cracker. I fight for artists, liberal, non-progressive, Pilates, not yoga, Jaguar, not Strat. I agree with that. Well, I like a Strat too. I don't know if this guy's a real rock star. I maybe meant that in the terms of information rock star. I don't know, but it's kind of a long thread. It looks like he sent me here from this guy David Seal, who seems to know an awful lot about this
Yeah.
TikTok and the roots of it and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I've heard things about, they like TikTok, of course, doesn't pay well when, someone's using their song across the platform. Maybe it's like some meme or some dance trend.
Nobody pays well though. I got a report from
Exactly.
Spotify. Like I think I earned 3 cents last year on Spotify.
Out of
Three
those
cents.
14 billion views,
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
but
and
I don't
that's the
do
perfect
anything.
example,
Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but again, TikTok is not. I wouldn't care if TikTok went away. I would care if Spotify went away, only because we are the audio version of the podcast archive version is hosted on Spotify for podcasters, and I would have to scramble to get a different host if that's the only reason I really care about Spotify going under. And they might. They're just really a poorly ran. They're run in the red constantly and they spend money on ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, it almost seems it like almost would be bittersweet if Joe Rogan is the one that winds up bankrupting that company.
I don't think that's going to happen. Do you know about this Bobby? What is it? Bobby Althoff? Bobby Althoff. She's a TikTok star. TikTok, not TikTok. Well, yeah, she started as a social media person, got famous, I guess, on TikTok and Instagram. But now she's a podcaster, and she has more views and listeners than Rogan. And she's terrible. I was talking, and I couldn't remember her name when I was talking to Pavaramo the other day. But she's terrible, and everybody admits she's terrible. Even the people, like while she's doing the interview, people will tell her, like, you're creeping me out right now. You're making me feel really uncomfortable. And she's just like, she's a terrible interviewer. But she's getting all these high profile people to interview and be on her show, and she's getting 12 million views per episode or listens per episode, and she's the worst. And I can't understand why people go back. Now, there's conspiracy theories that have grown up around her success, that the deep state put her in to dismay the podcast, put an end to the podcasting industry and all that stuff. It's crazy conspiracy theories. But do you guys know about her at all? Have you seen her?
No, I haven't heard. What is her name?
Bobby, Bobbialtho, Althoff. Althoff.
I'll have to be sure not to look into that.
You definitely want to see it just to see how
No, I
cringe
don't.
bad it is. Yes,
I
you
don't.
do.
No, I don't.
You do.
I don't even. I don't even. Just you mentioning it has made my blood sugar drop 10 points.
No, you definitely need to see people telling her how bad she is, though.
No, I
Most of the
don't.
Okay,
people
yeah, I
she's
have seen her.
yeah. She's got like Mark Cuban. Let me see. TikTok is already banned on this computer. So I just want to go to her TikTok page to see how many continue as a guest. She's got 242 million followers.
To answer Kelly's question, technically he can't do that yet because it's not a law. If Willie's doing it right now, he's doing it on his own. He's like what do they call it when you're by yourself and you're like a lone wolf and you're just doing shit on your own? like a
Yeah,
mercenary.
a lone wolf
A
doing
lone
shit on your
wolf.
own. That's what they call it.
Yeah, that's what they
Uh,
call it.
Willie says, "Did you know they're doing a ball drop at 8 p.m. on the 16th Times Square for St. Patrick's Day Eve? And I believe it will be Willie's ball, his one ball. They will drop. I don't know who this is. Oh, some musician who just booked time on it. I thought this was somebody from today. Anyway, Aaron Bullitt is supposed to be here. He'll probably not show too, and we'll just have like 2 hours of no show every day. We're having no show thing. The
Well,
other
I was supposed to have Brad Pitt here with me, but he fucking canceled too. So
fucking guy. He's probably with Putin and Trump practicing their impressions. Um, the other night I had a guy on who was a sci-fi author, but he's also a theologian. So he started writing his sci-fi book in the 70s, then became a theologian. And I was asking him, how, because sci-fi and being like,
Matt, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just called George Clooney. He's going to be on the show tomorrow to replace Brad Pitt.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Good. Way to go. Good find.
Unless he cancels before then. But as of right now, George Clooney is going to be on the show.
Nobody canceled before then. They'll wait until the show is halfway through and send me an email.
Okay.
My fourth grandmother died. So this guy was a sci-fi novelist in the 70s, but he didn't get the book published until 2015. But I like sci-fi and theologianism, theology are kind of at odds with each other. I don't think if you're a religious guy, creating worlds and sci-fi stuff and aliens and all that kind of stuff, I think that goes against the theology. So I basically I had to ask him. I said, "You believe in God?" He said, "Yes." I said, "What does that look like to you? Is it like the biblical version of an old man in the sky who created us?" And he said, "This is what he said." And this I've never heard this before, but it's something, and I never really thought about before. He said, "God made Adam and Eve in His likeness, both of them in His likeness. Now, man and a woman. So, but God is invisible." He's all spirit and he's invisible. So how could he make Adam and Eve in his likeness if nobody can see him? If he's invisible.
Well, then that would be just how I guess it's like an anorexic looking in the mirror and going, "I'm fat." God look in the mirror and goes, "Huh, this is what I see."
You look in the mirror and see nothing. He's invisible.
No, but
Even
it's in
to
his
him.
mind. But it's in his mind. It's not even a real mirror. Where would he find a mirror that it's in God's mind? And that, of course, that's it's funny. I hate having a prescribed theologian theosophy that a theologian. I hate having a philosophy that I adhere to because it makes me want to disagree with this guy and explain why I disagree with this guy. I don't want to do that.
But are you saying that God doesn't know that, or God didn't know that he was invisible? Because if I'm invisible, I know I'm invisible, and I'm going to make someone in my likeness.
How would you know you're invisible?
You know you're invisible. You know everything. Isn't he omnipotent, omnipotent, and knows everything? And
not according to my theosophy, no.
But if he's also making a man and woman in his likeness,
right?
Doesn't that make him the original they them?
Yeah.
See, in theory, well, according the literal translation in the Old Testament is Elohim, and Elohim implies that it's a male and female group of gods.
Well, that's polytheism.
Yes. That's I'm just saying if you're going to go by the words that they use in the Old Testament, those words have meanings to you.
Not polyamorous, polytheism.
No, it's polyamorous as well. Yeah.
It is a little bit. But it's just,
I mean, I'm like, and which is why I think there's such a clusterfuck. I think like different gods had different ideas of the different things they wanted to create and different priorities, and
Well, he was right. He was getting me confused about this because he was saying God is not his name. He was Elohim, whatever you just said,
Right.
and Yahweh and all that kind of stuff. But
Definitely Yahweh is not. But I'm just saying the old. I'm just saying according to what the Jews wrote in their book.
right. But he was
Other
saying
people have other
God
books.
is just what we call it, and there are lots of God, according to
Yeah,
him. Uh, but God is just a word that we use to describe, but not the name of him. Like, well,
that's what the Reverend says. The Reverend says you cannot take God's name in vain because you don't know God's name.
who named him? Because he didn't have parents. Like, he just picked his own name, right? Because it's
That's
not
why
like
God doesn't like. That's why when people. That's why when Moses says, "God, what's your name?" God would be like, let's just say I am that I am, because no,
I'm
I
Hank
don't have a
Porter.
name.
I'm Hank
Right,
Porter.
right. And Aaron Bullitt was CPT, I guess, because he's here now.
He is here. We'll just let him sit in the back room as punishment for the people who didn't show up.
Get in the back of the show, Aaron.
Right, get in the back of the show. You want to introduce him? You have a long intro for Aaron Bullitt, don't you? You wrote it all
No,
down.
I don't
Yes,
have
you
anything
do.
wrong for
Go ahead,
Aaron.
read that one that you wrote out and you sent to me.
Oh, that one. I
Yeah.
don't even know what the. Okay, yeah, here we go. Ready? Let's do it. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Hold on. Wait, no. Here it is. This is the intro for Aaron Bullitt. Wait a second. Do we have one? We have. Well, we don't really have an intro for Aaron Bullitt, so we'll just play Jackie's Got a Scoop, right? Jackie's Got a Scoop. Does that work?
I was thinking of the Jeffersons moving on up.
I don't have Jefferson moving on up. We'll just let him come in the room and
Okay,
make
here we go.
I
Ladies and
introduce
know.
gentlemen,
himself.
I know
Hello,
this
ladies
is.
and
hello, caller. Where you come from, and what's your name and where you come from?
I'm Aaron Bullitt from Louisville, Kentucky. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. I appreciate it. And I thought it said 10:15. I know CP time. I thought I was like, I know it's not February, but I was like,
No, you're
that's a good
early. You,
time.
you are early.
Yeah.
But we've had a no show again today, so we were just sitting here bullshitting. And have you met Ron?
I
Ron.
have it. Nice to meet you, Ron. My name's Aaron Bullitt.
Nice to meet you, Aaron.
Ron
Ron's
is
a good person to know, Aaron. Ron actually runs the comedy scene in all of Pennsylvania. If you want to do comedy in Pennsylvania, he's the gatekeeper.
he's the godfather of
Oh,
Yeah,
so
Pennsylvania
I
comedy.
must kiss the hand and be like, I need a favor from you, sir, in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
that's right.
I need a
That's
Philly
it.
cheesesteak in 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah.
I
Now,
And he's the man. He's the man that can get it for you,
almost
with or without royalties.
all of comedy runs on Ron Kane's family tradition of being a Kane. His brother Co Kane
Oh yeah.
is in charge. He feeds all
And
the
his uncle
comedy,
Citizen.
right? Uh, now, have you ever been performed in Pennsylvania, Aaron?
Actually, no, I have not. The closest I've been to Pennsylvania would be New York, but that's kind of where I'm at right now is traveling a little bit more because, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so it's a smaller comedy scene. So I feel like I'm at that stage in my career where I'm ready to find that second city by traveling, doing a little bit more because, I think that's very important. And I was going to tell you guys, it's funny. I actually read this Richard Pryor book, actually. And, I feel like some books have like large effect toward like I got this book when I was like 21. So I read it when I was 21, read it when I was 24. And I recently just got done reading it. And it's funny, Richard Pryor actually got arrested in Pittsburgh. So I was like, okay, if he got arrested there, then I want to do comedy there. Like I want to go to that spot. But I think that's funny that, what part of Pennsylvania are you from, Ron, actually?
New Hope.
Like South Central area, like Harrisburg.
Okay.
I got a question for you, Aaron. Do you know Danny Hucks?
I do know Danny Hucks, good friend of mine, actually. Yeah, really cool dude.
Yeah, because Danny spent some time up in this scene for about 3 years, so I know Danny as well. Danny's a nice guy, man.
Honestly, one of the best comedians. I feel like he's one of those guys that he works, loves the craft. He's actually one of the first people I talked to when I started comedy because I'm only 30, so I was 24, young. He helped me really kind of like shout out to Danny Hooks, by the way, but he really helped me. And I feel like any person that knows Danny is a friend of mine. So you and your brother Ron, your brother Cocaine, hey, you can hang out anytime, sir. But it was funny because after reading that book, it talks about that how Richard Pryor, when he got back from the service, he started in his hometown, and he decided to travel. You know, he's been to Pittsburgh, ended up going to New York, LA. And I guess for you guys, my question would be is how did you guys know when it was time for you guys to elevate from your hometowns, or when you guys knew that, okay, it's time to travel?
Well, for me, it started when I was 13. I came home from school, and my mother and father were both in jail.
Mm.
So I knew it was time to travel.
That's a good sign.
This is
Uh,
Danny Hux's button.
it's out of
Yeah, yeah.
focus. It's all out of focus.
Well, so
You,
is Danny Hux. If you ever meet Danny Hux, this is how he looks. He's out of
you,
focus as well.
yeah, like Mel from what was Deconstructing Harry or something like that? Woody Allen's movie. Robin Williams played Mel, who needed to. They sent him home from the set because he wasn't focused, and turned out he was just really blurry. He was really blurry. You guys want to answer that question about when it's time to travel? Because that was a serious answer for me when my parents when I came home from school and both my parents were in jail.
I'll let Ron answer. I mean, I have an answer too. I
It
mean, I
was
have
time
a
to hit the
legitimate
road.
answer. Right.
Well, I think just what like comedy wise, it's time to hit the road. If like if you definitely want to try and make your act better and things like that, it's always good to get out of your own scene and do other things. Because I've done comedy as far west as Vegas so far. Then I just got back from doing a month in Florida, so that was a lot of fun. So I think you just either as a comic you just know when you got to go, or you
You know
just
when you
kind
gotta
of
go.
stay, or you just stay.
You know when you got to go. There's an old adage that says that even Jesus wasn't a hit in his hometown, and I learned that pretty early on. So when I started getting into music, I knew eventually uh, I'd have to leave home because nobody is really ever really. And even if you're a hit in your hometown, it's not going to last. It's not going to be
No,
you know.
No.
no, not at all.
GD, what about you?
I'd probably been doing comedy like maybe 7 months or maybe 8 months,
But you've been in
and
entertainment your whole life, right?
I've
Music and
been. I used to be a musician. I hate calling myself a musician. I used to play in a band, but because I was not as good as the other guys. The other guys were real musicians. I was a songwriter, and they're like, "You're a really good songwriter, and you don't fuck up the band too much. You can play with us." But as far as comedy goes, I've been doing comedy for like maybe 6 months, 7 months. And one of the guys I did the comedy boot camp with, I saw him on YouTube because I didn't think I was ready to perform any place like New York or anything because I was still doing open mics and still doing like 7-minute sets for people. And I saw him do a set in New York, and I thought, what the fuck? I'm funnier than he is. If he can do New York and get laughs, I can do New York and get laughs. And so someone had seen me and goes like, well, I'm putting together some people. You want to come up to New York and do some shows with me? I'm like, sure. And I went up there and I did well. And once I did well in New York, I was like, this is not as scary as I thought it was. It's no big deal. I can go anywhere then. I can go anywhere and be funny. If this is what New York is.
I don't know. Have you played Haiti recently?
That's next. That is next.
I don't
I
think you
was
can go
I
there
was
and be
supposed to
funny.
do. There's a guy I won't mention. I don't want to mention Reed by name. Reed,
Reed,
the
Reed
one in
Metcalf.
line. Yeah, I don't want to mention Reed Metcalf by name, but I think he wants to do a show in Haiti in March. No, in May, and
Right.
I want to do. I want to be a part of that show.
Do you know Reed, Aaron? He's from. I believe he's no.
Well, the show is in Lyons County, Kentucky.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I haven't heard from him. Actually, yeah. Me and GD actually we linked up. GDX is the one who put me on and we try to get a show together. But I told him like, hey, just with any booker I work with, I always tell them, hey, you just let me know when, where, how long my set. You let me know then I'll go from there. And he hasn't hit me back. It's been a couple weeks, so I'm the kind of person where if someone doesn't hit me back, I don't take it personal. I say, okay, maybe they're busy. So, that's something I've had to learn. And GD, it's funny you mentioned New York because I actually went to, I know you guys know, but Ron, I went to New York for the first time I want to say it's like last December. And I felt the same way. I was like, I've only been doing this for 5 years. So I'm like, I've had some success in Louisville. I've been to Cincinnati, Nashville. I was a little nervous, because to me, LA, New York comedy mecca, right? So I was like, okay, went up there with my girlfriend. I did really good, did 5 minutes. And I understand that, like, when you travel, especially to like bigger cities, you get that adrenaline of, okay, I can make people laugh. And for me, I've kind of noticed comedy comedy scenes are different, but I think when you go to a place like New York, LA, Chicago, you really see the artistry of it, because I've seen a lot of comics mostly like do it for the money, or they do it for the clout of like, okay, well, I want to be famous. I want my
Fame more than money, I think.
world. And I'm like, dude, that's bullshit. I just want to make people laugh. And I think when you love the artistry of comedy, and you're able to see those different places, where even I opened up in I forgot, it was some place in Wisconsin, it was a casino, I forgot the name of it. And I went there, it was my first time featuring, and you're seeing that, okay, well, Wisconsin like being able to, my Louisville material is good, but going outside of that and saying, okay, well, I can't just talk about Louisville shit. Like, I gotta make my comedy more universal. Like, what's deep, and that's kind of been my journey last 5 years. And again, I'm still 5 years in, I'm still learning, but I've kind of had to learn that. I've had to learn that, okay, well, where's my comedic voice coming from? Is it, am I just going to talk about my experience being a Louisville, a young man from Louisville, or am I going to use like my military experience, and like, or am I going to use these things? What's universal? And I feel like having that confidence to leave and to explore has made me comedically better, and not just in stand up, because I write, I do some projects writing for people, scripts, stuff like that. So it's really helped me kind of understand that, okay, comedy is this universal thing, that it's not just stand up. There's this comedic, there's writing, acting, improv. And do you guys feel that way in y'all's comedic journey as y'all's traveled and seen other things? Do you feel like it's helped you in different ways, not just in the stand up, but like performance, or whether it's the business side of this or the artistry side of this?
I just, you know what, and I just love the traveling, not necessarily looking to get anything. I always had a wanderlust, I guess. And going back to this, is true that I came home from school. My parents were in jail. I ran away from home, put myself through high school. But from that moment on, I loved traveling. I loved just doing it for the sake of traveling, seeing new places. I think, I saw Sam Talent last weekend, and I really truly believe that that's what fuels him, and his comedy, and just his professionalism has grown as a byproduct of just loving to find out about the people in new places and the different cultures around America, and he travels the world now. So, but it's just, I think, if you can get into that, just the appreciation of the experience rather than the outcome of it, and what you get from it will help or everything you do. Just, as a byproduct of it, not necessarily as a plan to use this to help comedy or music or whatever it is you do. It's just, it happens naturally as a byproduct of it. You guys got any to add to Ron or GD on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It kind of helps you in all aspects. Like from like material wise, it's great going into other scenes and things like that, just to see, kind of give you an idea. Is like, is some of my material hack? Does it need to be, punched up better? So that, I mean, it's a great aspect. But yeah, I think you're right. It taps into a little bit of everything, and it just makes you an overall, uh, you know, should help you in all aspects to make you better. But then sometimes I think that can also make you bitter at the same time too. It's a very thin line between bitterness and growth.
Yeah.
And
And
I
what?
know the first short film I wrote a comedy short film in college. When I was 18, and it wasn't like I wanted to. I had no desire to be famous, because I was ashamed of my family, and I thought if I ever became famous, people would want to know about my family, and then I'd have to answer for it. And so I was always trying to hide in the shadows. And a friend of mine wrote for his final paper, submitted this script for his final film project, and he showed it to me and asked me what I thought. I said, "Oh, this really sucks." I said, is this a comedy? He goes, yeah, it's a comedy. I said, no, this isn't a comedy. So he says, can you do better? I said, I'm pretty sure I can. So I rewrote it for him. And then we shot it, and it was like fucking hilarious. And it became like a campus sensation, not viral, because we didn't have viruses back then. But it, went around the university as a pretty
There
fucking
was a
funny.
vax for it. That was the situation, and people took the vax willingly.
Yeah.
That's
So they wouldn't have to watch the short film that
Dusty Slay says, I'm in New York City this morning, and I said hey to two people while I was walking, and they said hey back. One of them had to be Willie, right? Willie said,
no,
hey.
no, because Willie would not have just said hey.
Oh,
He
right.
would not.
Well, I will say that. Well, when you first of all, when I was, let me back up. I will say that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and Dusty wouldn't be able to text yet. He'd be like, okay, yeah, go on. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Willie was not one of them because he would still wouldn't have stopped at hey.
Good point. Fair point on that one. Yeah. You know what? The New York City experience, as far as entertainment stuff, I don't think you can really feel it if you're only here for a short time. I think if you live here for 6 months, it's a very different experience of coming for a week or two, and it pretty much is the same. But I still come back to this idea that loving it's not necessarily about the career, where just to travel and seeing new people. With Sam, it definitely came across as understanding. Wow, this culture is very different than the culture I grew up in, and
Yeah.
trying to assimilate or understand the people you're visiting can be a great lesson. I don't know.
Ron and I have an unspoken love language where
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Oh no.
but he's winning. We're
no.
trying.
That's good. That's healthy.
Okay, I've only done comedy in 16 states now. Ron has done comedy in like 27 states, I think. I don't know. I'm not counting because I'm losing. If I were winning, I could tell you exactly how many states he'd been in, but I'm losing, so I don't really want to know. But whenever I go into a different state to do comedy, one of the things I do like to do is I like to pick up their local paper, and not just their local paper, but their local paper.
Hyperlocal.
Like in Baltimore, we have this thing called the city paper, which is like, it's just like a rag. And then, I do stories out of that for like, 4 or 5 minutes. I do my regular opening to get comfortable. And then I'll do like 5 or 6 minutes of their just straight out of their local paper stuff. And then I go back into my stuff that they came to see me for.
I like finding the local dive bars in places, because if you go to a local dive bar, then you can really get a pulse of what people are kind of like in that town or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their personal ads. The personal ads in their local, and there's little. That's what I do. I look at the little rags, and I look at the personal ads, the things that they're asking for in private. Well, not in private, but And the weird thing is that they still have those papers. Well, they still have those papers with those ads in it, even though they have like the Craigslist and stuff like that. They still have those little personal ads. It's like now 3 or 4 people, and that's probably all the same person.
TikTok has been banned in those small towns.
How do you guys feel about that? TikTok being
Oh, we kind of toward that part already. Basically,
if you were
I'm
early.
all for it, and they both think it's like a first move in censorship. But I'm okay with it because I'm not making a dime on TikTok, and it would help YouTube where I am making a dime. So I would make 11 cents if TikTok went away.
Is it because it's not American? Is that why you don't like it? Do you feel like if I was making money, it's American?
No, I don't like it because I don't make any money there,
Okay.
and I make money on YouTube. And the traffic going to TikTok, if it were all gone, they'd have to go to YouTube, and I'd make another penny. And that's my sole motivation here is thinking for me, I could use another penny.
Yeah, I just seen an article come across is that Steve Munchin and other investors want to buy TikTok To me, it's just this is a work. This is like a
Right.
workaround
A
because
manipulation of the
yeah, because
stock.
it's like the Americans, we couldn't create something as fun as engaging as TikTok. You got freaking Instagram,
Is it
and
fun and
now
engaging? I see. That's just probably my problem, and why I don't make any money on it is because I don't really ever use it except to post stuff. I don't look at anybody else. I go on there, I post, and I get off. I never really used it for
You don't
anything.
dance. You don't do any of the
and
little dances.
and that's partially the reason why it won't grow because the algorithm picks up on that, whether or not you're actually engaging with the platform.
I
And
hate it.
so if you're
It's
just on
just
there posting stuff, it more than likely it will not reward you because
right. Well,
the algorithm is saying you're
it
just putting
wasn't
it on
made
ads.
for my generation. Maybe there are people my age on there who get something out of it, but for the most part, people my age are like, "What the fuck is this? This is." But I have to say, I do get like if I'm on Facebook or YouTube and I get in one short will lead or one reel will lead into an hour of watching stupid 1 minute or 30-second videos, and then
Yeah,
take it out.
I engage in it, and it just sends me a thing about I can have more subscribers if I if I pay money. Basically, they're asking for money for me to so I can get more subscribers, and I'm like, no, eat me because I don't care, you know.
I just got this email. This is I just want to because it's from a marketing guy who wants to help me out. But it says, first off, Matt, congrats on being in the top 4,000 YouTube channels in the U.S. That's no easy feat. Now, I'm not sure that that's actually true that I am in the top 4,000 YouTube channels. But how would he know that? And I don't know that. It's
Well, he
kind of
pulled that number out of his ass, and unless
it,
you've seen his ass, you would not have known that. You'd have to have intimate knowledge of what he pulls out of his ass to know that
uh,
number.
Well, he wants to help me grow my channel even more. But you know what? It feels good to get that to read that as the opening line of a marketing pitch. Congrats on being one of the top 4,000. But you're probably 400,000 or probably 4 million YouTube channels in the U.S. alone. So yeah, he's right. If I am in that, it's no small feat. But I don't know that I am. But I am for YouTube because they're the only ones that I make any significant money from.
I mean, and you
Dime.
can make money from, and as someone who went to college for marketing, you can make money on YouTube. I mean, it's essentially the same thing because you can do ads on it. And I mean, from my opinion on TikTok, it's funny. Me and my girlfriend actually had this conversation like literally last night, and
And he has a real girlfriend. I saw her
I have a real
picture.
girlfriend. It's not one of those from Canada situations like those losers. Fuck that. So, but for me, I think I agree. I would have to agree with Ron and GD. I think that it's all about censorship, right? Because I think TikTok is a beautiful place because one minute you can learn conspiracy theories about the government, another you can learn how to make a cake. And I think that, but also too, I see the value for someone who is 30 millennial. I fucking hate that. Like, I'm a millennial. Like, fucking hate that. But I think that it's you see the access to information, and I think that, like, yes, it's not American per se, but at the same time, you can see things in real time. You can really engage, and I just think it's this. I'm sure for example, like for me in high school, like Facebook was still new, right? So to me, I think people have the same reactions to Facebook as they did with TikTok and YouTube. So I don't see nothing wrong with it. I think it's more because like I said, I just think they just feel like, well, it's not American and we didn't make it and they're making money and people are addicted to it. So we got to find a way to control it. And I
Like
think
hip
it's like
hop.
any other social media site, what I mean? Like some people rock with it, some people don't. Like I know people who don't, or like you, that don't fuck with it. They feel like it's stupid. But I would say, well, then, but you have Facebook, and on Facebook, I get tired of seeing the same people I went to high school with talking about their dogs and shit. It's stupid as fuck. But I think that, with social media, it's more about just managing it yourself. What do you want to get out of it? For me, as a comedian, producer, writer, I see it as marketing. Okay, I post my content, I engage with followers. I use ads to spread. I don't put any dick pics up. I don't spread my personal life
When
on
did you
there.
stop doing that?
I know. I should start. I mean, Drake did it, and this motherfucker got like 5 million views and probably a paycheck. So I was like, But Or we're so worried about TikTok, what about OnlyFans? So I mean, like there's levels of social media, and I think a lot of people don't look at it from the business side of it or the beneficial. Most people use TikTok to post their personal lives. They post grievances they have with people, and which is fine. It's America, and as a military service member, I feel like in this country you can do whatever the fuck you want to. But I think when you can say, well, we're going to ban this from our society because of whatever reason they deem possible, I feel like, well, then if you can do that with one platform, then you should be. If you can do a TikTok, then you have to look at the other social media sites as, are those detrimental to society? Are those helping
I
people
think they
out?
are detrimental to society. All of them are, but again, I, you know, the fact that Musk is starting his own TV network now. There are a lot, there are American entrepreneurs who are creating jobs here for that stuff. It plays into a big part of this whole idea. I don't think it's that the content on TikTok is any different than Facebook or YouTube Shorts or any of that kind of stuff. I think the concern is that it's all about money, like Ron said. I mean, people are manipulating the situation so Americans can buy into it now, or have an incentive to at least be in a partnership, a front person ownership for the Chinese government or whoever is behind TikTok. It's all about money and who's making the profit off it more than the content.
And the
Yeah, I
other thing,
do.
the
Okay,
the
Ron.
the other underlining story in that whole TikTok thing is the TikTok algorithm. That's that's what we want. The Americans that are like really pushing this, or these big business guys, they want to get into TikTok because they want that algorithm. That algorithm on TikTok is special, and because the way that it works, and there's so much power behind it, and where they read between the lines in those stories, you always hear about that algorithm in TikTok. That's the real value of that company. They don't give a shit about what content they're putting out. They want that fucking algorithm so that way they can put it in place for whatever they want.
Well,
Because
YouTube's algorithm changes like almost twice a week now. It used to be like every 6 months, but now they're like constantly tweaking it. Oh, we changed our tips and guidelines and all that kind of stuff. I get that email twice a week now. And then every time I go to my channel, like, oh, breaking, we just changed this, we just changed that. And this is what you got to do now to make us happy. It's like we've become slaves to these fucking AI driven traffic bots or whatever. I feel like I'm definitely living my life trying to please some unknown code that somebody wrote. I'm trying. My job in life, my place in life, is now to figure out what is driving traffic and why, and then keep doing that over and over again. And every
Now
time I do, they change.
I look at social media as like a release valve to society for the most part, and that's the only to me that's the only real redeeming factor. Because if a lot of people didn't have a release valve, they'd have a release trigger. They'd be out doing something really really harmful to themselves or someone else. And this way, they can dance and get noticed. They can that's why I think that if bots are going to have a purpose, their bots are to and the algorithms, they should find the dangerous ones and give them likes so that they will feel happy and complete and not want to shoot people up. Give them a virtual girlfriend that they can love. If bots and algorithms are going to have a purpose, that's it. Find the dangerous people, make them happy, keep them calm.
Yeah,
Right.
just remember TikTok dangerous. Mass shootings and school shootings, a-okay still.
It's fine. It's America's apple pie.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and it's funny. I was going to tell you guys. I don't know if you guys know this called the Keith Lee effect. I don't know if you guys have heard this guy. He's a young African American guy. He started off on TikTok cooking for his pregnant wife, right? But his main thing was he would go to these restaurants, like you guys say dive bars, restaurants, and he would be like, "Hey, I pulled up, ate there," and he rates it, 1 out of 10. And he was doing this for a while. He was going on tour, and he went to Atlanta specifically. And he literally just went to a bunch of local Black Atlanta restaurants, just really brought exposure to the Black scene, food scene, these restaurants, just being honest. And literally after he went there, every restaurant he goes to, that business sees at least 20-30% markup in their business. So, and for me, when I look at that, I'm like, okay, well, that's smart, because now you're seeing in real time, in real effect, hey, like if your restaurant sucks, you're gonna lose business. But if you do a good job, hey, that's gonna boost. And that's why I said, like you said, Ron, that algorithm is so delicious, is because like you just like with comedy, right? You could post, let's say someone posts their stand-up, right? And they post one crowd work or a joke. If you get, let's say you get 30K views on it and this many likes and shares, that's money and that's exposure. So, and I think that, you know, like Ron said, you know, that algorithm, you know, it's hard to resist, because you know that, okay, you get real feedback and you know, okay, my material is good or my crowd work is good, or especially for someone that, you know, like GD, you know, and actually I followed you on Instagram, Ron, so you better follow me, you better like my shit, you better start liking it. But, you know, for us, you know, and even for you, Mind Dog, like, you know, like those things are important, but I think social media is, and again, I'm younger, this is just my perspective. I think that like you can't deny the effect that it has on people. I mean, like literally, if you can just go on the live right now, and there's probably my favorite ones are the one that when you have Asian people, they're like in a market and they're just cutting shit up. I could watch that for hours, right? But they have it to where you're like, hey, if you like me doing this, here are my products, here's stores. And I think in the world we live in now with entrepreneurship, that these sites are important. And yeah, you know, just because America didn't make it's not wrong, but at the same time, do better. Like, why not? I mean, like, they're just like, if Elon Musk can buy fucking Twitter, which is X now, which I thought like that was for porn.
No, we call it Twitter. We call it. Don't ever call it X here. We call it Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, because which I don't know the point of calling it X. Like, I thought that was more for porn. I was like,
No,
I was confused.
He's trying to deny Malcolm his rightful claim to use X.
God,
he's trying to buy up. Yeah,
God,
he's trying to buy. Yes, he is trying to erase Malcolm. From
He's tried to name everything in his life X. It turns out, like PayPal was originally X. Everything he's ever touched, he wanted to name it X, and now he finally has full control over what I call Twitter. And he's calling that X. But if you notice, it still says Twitter.com.
He's trying to erase Malcolm. He's trying to rewrite history, and damn it, no.
Nah,
Well, since you brought up a racial thing here, I want to.
Racism.
Well, yeah, I just want to say I need to take a quick break and refresh my coffee. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to play a commercial. When we come back, I'm going to rely on Ron to be the host until I get back, being the member of the superior race here, and we can't have one of these inferior race guys.
Go ahead and stretch that arm out while you're at it. Go ahead and do those exercises. Go ahead.
So I will be back, but probably not in time for the end of this commercial. But we're going to play a quick commercial and
get
then
coffee. Get your coffee.
I'm going to go get some coffee.
Hey there, I'm Mr. Geronimo, product manager for Tracy's Dog. What is Tracy's Dog? Well, for $50, we send you a high-quality sex toy right to your door. Yeah, $50. Are our toys any good? No. They're f***ing amazing. Yeehaw! Each toy is made with body-safe silicone. We are constantly evolving and innovating our product line. They are built for one thing, to shake your world with orgasms you ain't never seen before. Do you like spending $100 for your sex toy? 80 of it goes to retail. What about bumping into your family while at the sex toy shop? Good taste. Get the pleasure you deserve without broadcasting your secrets. And think of all the money we're going to be saving you.
Oh, hey.
Hey, what's up?
That's stupid. That commercial is so stupid. The scene where the guy is holding the box, so Geronimo's walking up the aisle and he says, and you run into your family at the sex shop, and the guy holding the box looks at Ron and goes, "Good taste." Not Ron, Geronimo. Geronimo is not the one buying that. So why would he say to Geronimo, "Good taste," when he's buying the box himself and he's holding it saying "good taste" and walks away? I'm sorry. See, that's what I say. I can't abide by that kind of sloppiness. I just can't. And that's why I will not buy their sex toys.
I've been in plenty of those shops, and I've never run into a family member. So
Not even on your wife's side, because she's got a lot of family, and they're all over.
no, and if you're like Mike Johnson, you share adult sites with your teenage son. So
Now that's bonding. That's how you do it, son. This is the kind of porn I like. This is the porn. This is the porn I like. This is porn your granddad like. Damn it.
I would so much rather run into a relative at a sex shop than to sit there with your teenage son. Like, check this out. So, stepmom goes black videos are my favorite. What about you, Skid?
I'm surprised there are still even brick and mortar sex shops in the world. I just, why there's no need for them. I
Oh,
guess
no,
There is.
there is.
There definitely is for sure.
I'm on my way up to one in the one in York. What's it? The one that did you tell me about it, Ron? The one in York.
Hey, don't bring me in to help save your joke.
No. I'm asking, but I have to go pick up. I have to pick up some supplies for a show.
Yeah. There's one probably like 7 minutes away from the West York Inn.
Well,
Right.
okay. Why are they important rather than just having it delivered like from a online shop? What makes
I have specific uses and needs, and I want to. I like to see things to see if they'll do what I want them to do.
No, it's the shopping experience now, and the stores those stores most of them, at least the ones that are like newer and into it, they're like nice and clean now. They're very well lit. It's for couples. It's most of them are not seedy anymore. Except you got to go to those special places for the seedy ones with the theaters and things like that.
I not like I keep an eye out for them, but I used to notice them on the sides of roads. You're driving down a road and you know where a sex shop was. I don't see them anymore. So, but
Go to Florida. They're everywhere. It's sex shop, babe
I
shop.
bet you in Missouri they're everywhere too. Last time I was in St. Louis, it was just like, oh my God, there's places, and it would always be like next to a church or a school.
Yeah, and it's like they're here in Louisville,
it's not annexed by the church.
Yeah, liquor store, church, sex shop, and it's like when you go to Home Depot, like you don't want to just order the hammer, you want to hold it in your hand, you want to feel it, just like those handcuffs, you want to know. And Ron, I was going to ask you, how was your stint in Florida, by the way, and what's something that you learned or gained from that experience?
Well, Florida was really good. I gained a lot on that trip just from either like networking and like performance and like writing wise. And it's always good to go into another scene to see what their comics are. And like that Tampa Bay scene is pretty strong. There's like lots of opportunity for work and things like that, but they have that's a good little scene. Like I've been out to Austin, and because of the oversaturation out in Austin is just a swamp of bad open mic comedy. If you ever go to a mic out there, it's horrific.
By the way, I did apply. Now, yesterday I put out some bad information here. The Altercation Comedy Festival does have a submission fee. I think it's $30. Yeah, $30. Right. But that's not apparent when you're filling out the form. You don't see that until after you fill out the form, and then they come up with here's the price, and so you could waste the whole time. And I think today's the last day for it. But I did apply to do the podcast live from the Altercation Comedy Fest. There's a good chance that we will be part of that. So that should be a fun experience, just to go down there, do that, and then use some of the other time to interview comedians and get some footage and stuff of the trip to Austin. I haven't been there since like '92 when it was. What's going on there now for comedians was going on at that time for musicians. It was South by Southwest was happening there, and Austin was a place for independent music. And I went there, and it's like, it's just too many musicians here, man. You can't even be noticed at all here. There's just too much going on.
That's how I felt at like Venice Beach, California. When I was out there, and a friend of mine was going, see this place? You belong here. And he goes, it's weirdos. You would fit here. And I thought to myself, no, I would not get noticed here because there's no way I stand out, because I'd have to be like twice as weird as that guy. And I'm twice as weird as like the normal guy, but I'm half as weird as that guy. I wouldn't get noticed. And I'm not willing to step up my weird game to get noticed. So no, I wouldn't be happy in Venice Beach.
Kelly says she's in the mecca of porn shop places or sex shop places.
Yeah.
That's still Missouri. Kansas City's still Missouri, but it's barely Missouri. Oh, gotta say goodbye to Govs. Govs, today, I believe Frank Walker will be joining Tony Walker on Knock 'em Dead. So good luck with that show. Frank Walker